This is gonna be just a short video where I'm gonna show you some functionality of a new system that I've been working on. And what this system is designed to do is designed to add a simple system to your character or pawn, which would allow it to level up and have stats. If you're talking about an RPG game, and it would be stats such as health, mana, stamina, and dexterity, that sort of thing. And I'm just gonna show you how we go about adding the system. And it's very simple, very similar to how you would add my spellcasting system. So pretty much this is just a regular third-person pawn that comes with the template. And just go to my character blueprint. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new variable. I'm gonna call it a character system. I'm gonna set a type of for this variable to be character system. What I'm gonna do is on begin play. So this could be actually done within the construction script. So probably makes more sense to do it within the construction script. Is I'm gonna create a child actor. Add child actor component. I'm gonna set the child actor class to character system. I'm gonna get the return variable. I'm gonna get child actor. I'm going to cast the child actor into character system. And I'm going to set the character system variable to the result to the output of the cast node. This is all that's needed to be done to add the actual system to the character. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna add the system will come with a very simple HUD, just to show off sort of really simply what you can do. Of course, it all can be extended, and there'll be tutorials coming up on how to do that. So what we're gonna do now is just add the very simple HUD. So on event begin play, I'm going to add widget component. And this widget component, the widget class is going to be sample widget, which is the name of the widget that will come with the system. And we're gonna add it to the viewport. Add to correct function. Create a widget. My apology. So in user interface section, there's create widget. Class we set to be sample widget. And we add the sample widget to the viewport. And one more thing we need to do, we need to set the sample widgets character system variable. Just down here, set character system. And have the set character system, and we're going to set the character system to our characters. Character system. Get the variable from here, plug it in, and that's how we would set up very simple. This is just to add the system to your pawn character without doing any modifications and what. What I'm gonna do is just so I can show off that it's actually handles stuff like leveling up and so on. So I'm just gonna create an event on pressing a plus button, for example. And what I wanted to do is just add a bit of experience to my character, to my character system. And normally you would probably call this, once you kill an enemy, you would call add experience. And you would pass in however much experience you want to pass in, however much experience you have gained from killing that monster, completing the quest, or whatever you are doing that gives you experience. I'm just gonna use an event where I press the plus button on my keyboard. That's how to add it, and it should indeed. You can see that it indeed is added and whatnot. Then I can press plus, and by default there is a you need 50 experience to level up. So pressing the plus button once will level me up. There is one more component, and that is how we handle the. There is a extra component to the HUD, which actually shows like a little stat table, and we handle this. We handle this very simple. We'll create an event. Example, pressing the button C. And what we want to do is call toggle function from our digit. Now, when I press C, you can see that a very simple character sheet shows up, showing the player name, the level, experience need to level up, how many free attribute points there are, and 2 attributes, health and health regen. And you can see health regen is 1. There is a logic that within the character system, just a sample logic, shows of how to do something like a health regen, where basically every tick we add the amount of health regen to the health as long as the health is below the maximum health. So once the health reaches 100, you will stop regenerating. You are below 100 health again. And of course, you can set up how the variable behaves, how the attribute behaves. You could set up, have more health regen as health regen. You could have a fraction as a health regen, and so on. So if I now press plus, which will level me up to level 2, and you can see you gain a certain amount of attribute points. You can set how many attribute points you gain per level, and so on. You can also set how much experience is needed to require to level up for each level, and that's within the character system. In the defaults, there is a per level XP array where you can set, depending on the number of elements, that is gonna be your maximum level. So in this case we have 5 elements, which means the first element is gonna be from level 1 to 2. The second element is gonna be from level 2 to 3, and so on. So our maximum level here is going to be level 6, which is when we get, basically, when we reach level 6, we can no longer level up. And of course, if you want to have a higher level than that, you just add more elements and just set how much XP is needed for that level. Upon leveling up, the XP is reset to 0. Of course, if you for example, needed 50 experience to level up and you gained 58, then you'll be the next level and you will still have 8 experience. So it carries over. Also in here, you can set up your stats, and the stats work in a way where there is an enum where you have various stat names, and you can add your own. You can, you don't have to use these. You can remove them if you don't want to use them. You can add your own, and then there is you can add it to the character system just by clicking class and selecting the stat will be displayed here if you have added it to the enum, and you basically select whatever stat it is. You set its base value per level scaling, which is how much does it increase by each level. So if you were to set that to, for example, 1.5, then what happens is the stat that you get out of the system is always rounded, which means if you had 1.5, then it would scale, it would be automatically rounded to 2. By that I mean, if the default value was 5 and you leveled up by 1 level, then you would end up with 6.5, which would be automatically rounded to 7. If you then leveled up again, you would end up with 8, and it'll be 8, of course, no rounding to be done there. But if you had it, for example, 0.2, then what that would mean is you level up once, it will be 5.2, it will be rounded down to 5. You level up second time, it will be 5.4, and it will still be rounded down to 5. You level up for a third time, it will be 5.6, and the stat will be rounded to 6. So on average, you would gain 1 stat every 5 levels. It's same with the cost. What you can do with the cost is, if the cost is set to 2, then each time you spend an attribute point using the functions provided, it would add half a point to the actual stat. And if you set the cost to, let's say, 0.5, then each time you spend an attribute point, it would add 2 stats to that. What else? There are functions to pretty much get and set every single one of the stats. There is a very simple sample logic, for example. This function is designed for, is sort of put there for you to put your own stuff into. This would be where you would put, if you want, for example, if you had a stat called spell power, and you wanted, for example, your intellect attribute to modify this stat, then this would be where you would put the logic. This is called pretty much every time any stat has changed. And in this case, what we are using, what's the sample logic here, is just to check if the player's health is below 0 or equal to 0, and if it is, just set the dead end trigger on dead event, where on the dead event you can pretty much implement whatever you want. At the moment it just says you have died. There is also on level up event where you could implement whatever you want to implement, maybe some animation, maybe message, maybe for example saying, oh, you have gained X amount of points, you have reached level X, whatever, you have unlocked a skill, whatever. There is also, in the recalculate stat function, there is also a sample logic for handling. When we increase max health, we of course want to increase the current health by the same amount. Of course, you can remove these, you can replace them with whatever you need, you can add your own stuff to this. It's very, very simple, and there will be tutorials on how to deal with everything. Also in the event graph there is a sample logic on how to handle health regen, where basically all we're doing is just checking that the current health is lower than max health, and if it is, we add the health regen value to it. And of course you can modify these, you could use the exactly same logic for mana regen, and pretty much do whatever you want with the stats. Of course, you don't have to use the per level scaling, you can completely remove the stats, such as you could remove the level stat and completely ignore the leveling and just modifying the stats on your own. You could get rid of stat point attribute, and basically just sort of maybe have a set number of stats, have them set at a certain value that's never changing, or that only changes upon level up, but not letting the player actually, you know, assign 3 points to that stat. You could also, for example, create a stat that would handle your skill points for unlocking spells and such. Pretty much, it's very flexible. You can pretty much do whatever you would need to do. Just gonna show you again. I press C, the HUD up, and you can see player is actually at level 5 at the moment. Press 5, you can see the XP going down. Once we have leveled up, you get 3 points, and spend these points, and so on. It is still work in progress. There are still a few bugs to be worked out, but it's pretty much done, ready, almost, except for maybe if I find a bug or so to fix. Maybe I'll add a health bar and a couple more sample stats, but except that it's pretty much ready. Any questions or any requests while we're at this stage, you can contact me either on the forums, or you can just comment on the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you like what you see.